Once upon a time on Batory Street, nowadays it answers to the much more aristocratic name of Prince Roman Street, there stood a Carmelite monastery. A place you would think of prayer, humility, and quiet contemplation. But Lviv has always loved practical solutions, so later the monastery was turned into a prison. Why waste good walls? By the way, in 1877-78, even Ivan Franko sat there. Apparently, the walls had already begun collecting famous tenants. And in 1912, another illustrious name was added to the list, Stanislav Levytsky, lawyer, banker, cyclist, darling of society, and, as it turned out, a jealous man with a very bad temper. Levytsky was awaiting a death sentence for murdering Yanina Oginska-Shenderovich, his lover, a married woman, and an actress at the Lviv Opera. The motive? Oh, the oldest one in the book, jealousy. Not even original, if you think about it. His father, one of the richest merchants in Lviv, did what any respectable parent with money would do. He tried to buy salvation. A medical commission was supposed to declare Stanislaw unfit to stand trial. Alas, doctors sometimes turn out to be stubbornly honest. When it became clear that the gallows were no longer a theoretical concept, Stanislaw decided not to wait for the executioner and calmly swallowed poison smuggled to him in prison bread. Lviv, touched as always, composed a song. And you see, Levytsky, what love can do. The Jealous Levytsky, or How Not to Fall in Love. Lviv, as any attentive citizen knows, is a city that doesn't rush to reveal its secrets. It prefers hints, half-words, and meaningful silence. Silence here isn't awkward, it's a lifestyle. The city remembers everything. Footsteps, glances, whispers behind curtains, sighs in opera boxes, but it doesn't gossip, it waits. At the beginning of the 20th century, Batory Street seemed frozen in time. People walked there, some in a hurry, some long past the stage of hurrying anywhere. Gas lamps flickered into life reluctantly, as if unsure what they might illuminate was worth the effort. The light didn't expose anything, it merely suggested. Behind the thick walls of the former monastery, now a prison, Stanislav Levytsky sat in a damp cell. 35 years old, an age when one already knows better, but still confidently does worse. You came from a good family, one where order, calculation, and reputation were practically family members. Voices weren't raised in the Levytsky household. Emotions were kept on a tight leash. Stanislav grew up straight-backed and well-mannered, studied law, mingled with bankers, joined sports clubs, raced bicycles, and regularly appeared in newspapers. Waiters knew him, tailors respected him, editors nodded knowingly. In short, everything was going according to plan. Until it wasn't. Not long ago, the name Levytsky floated pleasantly through opera boxes, club smoking rooms, and bank offices. No explanations required. Golden youth, the newspapers called people like him, young men accustomed to doors opening automatically. Unfortunately, when such doors suddenly shut shop, they don't take it well. In his cell, Levytsky behaved impeccably. Too impeccably, sitting upright on a narrow bench, dressed neatly, hands folded on his knees, more like a guest waiting for tea than a man awaiting execution. Only his eyes betrayed him, the look of someone who, for the first time, realized that nothing could be fixed. Of course, he thought about the opera. That's where it all began. Among velvet curtains and golded balconies, he first saw Yanina Oginska-Shenderovich, about 30, from a cultured family, taught from childhood not to overshare and not to wave emotions around like flags. She sang at the Lviv Opera, without theatrical excess, without cheap effects. Slowly, steadily, she won the audience. Yanina wasn't dazzlingly beautiful, but her voice, deep, reserved, honest, made the hall fall silent. She didn't sing for applause. She sang as if confessing something important. That evening, Levytsky had come to the opera for habit. The music drifted past him harmlessly, until her voice sounded. He straightened instantly. Authenticity, that was it, something his carefully ordered life sorely lacked. After the performance, he waited for her by the stage door. No flowers, too obvious. He apologized for his boldness and admitted that silence would have been a crime. Yanina looked at him with the weary insight of a woman who had heard many such speeches, and replied that Lviv was full of empty words. But, interesting detail, she stopped. Their relationship unfolded slowly. Walks without touching, conversations without promises, long pauses that said more than speeches. Levytsky knew she was married. He also knew that he didn't care. Her husband, Mr. Shenderovich, 40, respectable, reliable, predictably decent, was precisely the problem. His calm, lawful presence gnawed at Levytsky like rust. The jealousy didn't explode. It seeped in quietly, polite, persistent, corrosive. Levytsky analyzed every glance, every pause, suspecting betrayal where there was only fatigue. Silence itself became evidence. One day she said he was demanding the impossible, that she couldn't destroy her life. He replied honestly, he had already destroyed his own and couldn't stop. The evening was heavy. Words hurt. She turned away. He stepped forward. The knife was nearby. Whether by chance, well, there was no one left to decide. Levytsky didn't run. He sat beside her, waiting for a miracle that never came. Jealousy evaporated instantly. Emptiness remained. Lviv wasted no time. The father's money failed. Levytsky was declared sane. The sentence was a matter of scheduling. In his cell, Stanislav pondered love and jealousy and how easy it is to confuse them. The poison arrived in bread, a modest capsule, nothing dramatic. He swallowed it without hesitation. "Yanina," he whispered, "I'm coming." By morning, Lviv knew. By evening, it was already humming a song. The city listened, then, as usual, fell silent. And the stone walls remembered everything.